Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Good to have you along. Now, today, I'm really looking forward to this conversation because we're going to look at something a bit different, and that's how to manage your business in a smooth way and a very well-organized way. And to do that, I have brought on an HR tech guru, as I call him. Anyway, he's an expert in this field. Supreet is the CEO and founder of an amazing work operating system that we use in our business called Anywhere. And so I really want to ask Supreet, what it does, and then potentially how can customers in the HR consulting world and the HR tech world potentially use Anywhere to better manage their projects and recurring business work. So I'd love to dive into that. But before we get into it, Supreet, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks a lot for having me, Ben. It's wonderful to be here.
Great to have you. And so we're having this conversation on the day after Ireland's hottest ever day for 135 years. So I'm an Australian. I'm used to heat, but I'm long past that. It's hot for me. What's it like where you're based? You're in India, right? What's an average temperature?
Yeah, it generally gets real hot over here in summers, but luckily we are going through the mid-rainy season right now. So it is heavily raining over here as well.
I know that the Australian cricket team's always a bit scared of playing in India because it's just so hot and you guys are so good. We'll do the conversation about cricket at another time. But Supreet, before we get into Anywhere, can I just ask you a very quick background to you on what led to the formation of Anywhere?
So we basically have been running an IT consulting firm over here in our city for the last 10 years now. And before COVID hit, and almost at the time when COVID hit, somewhere about 2020, we had a large pool of developers available with us. And we did not have enough, because that other part of the business deals with the outsourcing work. We did not have a lot of outsourcing work in-house. We didn't have a lot of clients. And we didn't want to let go of these people because many of these developers and the team have been working with us for 8+ years. So we wanted to figure out how we can utilize their time. And that's when we sat together, figured out what is it that we can do next. And we figured that there are a lot of project management work-OS tools out there. And we have tried so many of them in the last 10 years of our journey as being in the software development team. But we found some loopholes. Sometimes they were very expensive. Sometimes they didn't do the work that we wanted to do with them. So we just jotted down what were the loopholes in these existing systems, and we thought, let's give it a try. And that's how the first version of Anywhere was created.
That's brilliant. And before we get into Anywhere, you're making me smile. For listeners to listen to this on the go, you can't see me smile because at the moment I've been seeing lots on LinkedIn around companies that have heard, maybe there'll be an economic downturn in the future. There isn't one yet, but maybe there will be one. And so they're panicking. There was one company that just got hammered by people on LinkedIn because they had done a large downsizing of their workforce. I think they'd done it by email. So they didn't even have Zoom meetings. They didn't even have one-to-one meetings, which they should, of course. There's a lot of stories like that where they're reducing workforce. You had a situation where there wasn't enough work at that stage. And unlike all of these other companies that just didn't go about it the right way, you turned to creativity. You said, well, what can we do to create work? I absolutely love that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben. These people have been working with us for a very long time. So we thought letting them go was not a good idea. So we asked them to stay with us for a smaller salary. We did a small cut in the salary, but as soon as we were back in the business, we back in the game as well. So we utilized their downtime to create a product for us.
Brilliant. So speaking of the product, what is Anywhere? We can talk in a minute about how we use it, but I'd love to hear about what is Anywhere and how does it help consulting firms and tech firms to manage their business?
Anywhere is essentially a work operating system. And by work operating system, what we mean is it helps you and teams of any sizes manage all of their work. It could be HR, it could be projects, it could be internal or external projects that you do with your clients and anything in between. Where it helps is that it helps you bring all of your team members together on one platform with real-time communication. So for example, if you are working with certain other team members on a project for a certain client, you can invite not only your team members, but the client also onto your project boards. And every single change that you make in there is seen by everyone. Plus, you can automate a lot of stuff in there to save your time as well as the client get automatic email updates on what is happening on their project. So it brings in more visibility, reduces the silos around the usual project management that happens, and thus bring in or update, improve the productivity of teams. So that's what the overall idea of Anywhere is.
Nice. So to give listeners some context, the way we use it in our business is that we only work with companies in the HR sector. So we have companies around the world, mostly North America and UK and Europe, some in Australia and elsewhere. But yeah, we have a workspace dedicated to each client company, and then we run it through a board. And a board is, we use it for a Gantt chart and a work to do list chunked out into the main area. So when we work with our clients, it's around the positioning and the offers, get those things humming along. And then the next ones are unpaid marketing and paid marketing, and then future items. So what are we going to do in the unpaid stuff? What are we doing in the paid stuff? Each one is broken out into line items. It then can have subtasks. And as Supreet mentioned, we can allocate people to work on individual items, and they can be invited in as guests or as team members or just to view it. So you've got this stuff going on, which means that you've got one central hub of information. So one source of truth, which is just so important. And the reason we use it this way, and the reason I love Anywhere, is that we assign dates to it and suddenly it becomes a Gantt chart. So yeah, you've got a basic to-do list and it's chunked out into the main sections that we use for our growth plans, our 90-day growth plans. But when we add the dates and allocate team members to it, becomes a Gantt chart that says, this bit is before this bit, and here's our due date and what needs to happen beforehand. It's such a visually powerful way to do it. Is that why you built it that way?
Yes, we did add a Gantt chart essentially for helping teams like yours to do the planning in advance and to be able to have a larger high level view of your entire project plan right from the start to the end. You, as well as there are features which I don't know whether you have used right now, but there are features which you can utilize that tells you that, okay, here's the start date of my project and here's the end date of my project. This is how it is planned right now. But if it starts going south, if there is a deviation, you can also track the deviation and you can see which task or which items in your project plan basically started causing the deviation. So over a period of time, you can see that there is a pattern and you can start correcting that. So the project plan, the way it is planned and the way it is executed are more or less similar.
Very clever. Yeah, the deviation, it helps you identify that because, yeah, certainly because we only work with companies in the HR sector, there's certain things that we know this works across lots of subsectors of the industry. And so we reapply them. And then if we use the deviation plan, then we can notice we always have to watch out for this key element because that can throw everything off. So let's put more resources or let's target that. The other thing, could you tell us a little bit, because I love these, is the alerts and the automations, because that's what personally I use a lot. I get a lot of email prompts, either start and end of the week reports and updates or daily reminders. So can you tell us about the automations?
Sure. The idea behind automations was to not only help you with the reports the way you have set it up, but to be able to do anything that the system could do even when you are not there. And because it's a work OS, because you could do and manage different kind of work within Anywhere, we don't know what is it that you want to automate. So rather than we creating a certain set of automations, although we do have certain recipes, common recipes that are used by the customers and they can customize that. What we also built is an automation builder, which works on a very simple principle of if this happens, do that. So if there is a trigger that happens within your board, an action can be taken and you are in full control of what are the triggers and what are the actions. That way you can set up your automations to work on your behalf, keep your board up to date and send out status update emails and notifications as per your choice. Basically, the idea is to help you save time with the help of automations.
And so you can do it in a couple of ways. One is just date-based, day of the week type stuff, telling me anything that's going on. But then the other one is triggered by dates and even lead up to dates. So we talked about the deviation from the plan, having it set up that says your deadline for a key element is coming up. You could have a notification already saved to tell you ahead of time, which I just think is genius.
Exactly. It basically tells you that, and you can configure how many days prior to the deadline you want to receive an email. It goes to your project, collates everything that is due in, let's say, next 3 days, sends out an email saying, hey, Ben, these are the items which need your attention. So you are always top of on top of your game.
Now, within Anywhere, you've got template boards. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that's a great element too.
Templates are basically, we have got 100 plus templates available across different streams. So we have templates in marketing, sales, project management, agile, HR as well, even for startups. The idea behind template was to give people not only a starting point, but also the templates help people understand it. Sometimes there are companies who do not have a set process, they don't follow a set process as of now. They are early stage. So what the idea behind template was that because we have been working with so many customers over the last 10 years, we have accumulated some understanding. And the idea behind template was to share our understanding with these new customers via those templates. So when they come to Anywhere, they go through the templates based on their interest or based on their needs. And then there are certain predefined columns or project boards set up for them with predefined automations. So that can work as getting a starting point for these customers. And then from there, they can, of course, build and customize it to suit their own needs. So the idea was to help them understand that here is how you can do it. But over a period of time, if you feel that you need to change it, yes, go ahead and customize it.
That's actually what we did. So you turn up to any software, you always think, oh, what do I do next? But the templates I found very useful because we could then pull up a few of them, say which one is best matched to what we do. And then we adjusted them and then we saved them as our own template. So from now on, whenever we have a new client and we're going to use our 90-day growth plan process, we have a board and we copy the board, we update the details, and then we adjust it, customize that plan according to what we're going to do or what they want to do, all that sort of stuff. But the core structure is there always. What were some of the HR templates that you mentioned?
So we do have a few, I don't remember on top of my head, but within our organization, we use it for ATS, application tracking system. So we keep hiring a lot of people every single month. So we use a couple of boards for ATS. We use a couple of the boards for when we have a 50 odd team, you have to speak to your employees time and again to see how they are doing, if there is something that you can do to improvise, if they need certain training. So all those interactions are also managed in a separate board. Then we also do these reviews of their work. So all of those quarterly reviews that we do for each of these employees are also stored in these or can be managed within one of the boards. So I think we created templates for all of these under the HR category. Predefined again, don't have to use what is available there as it is, but they can be used as a starting point.
Yeah, that's good. And you made a good point about you can have everything in the one place. So that's what we do for each client. So we've got the plan built out. Yes, it's built off a structure or a skeleton almost. And then we add the detail on top and customize it. But from there, any onboarding stuff or action plans, or sometimes we write out sales conversion documents for different target markets and things like that. But then we link within the main board. And so all we have to do is go to one spot. We say, oh, what's the plan for this? Click on that. Boom. There's the plan, the details, the sub steps, who's working on it, what are the due dates. If there's a document attached to that, we do it. And the other aspect that we did, which actually suggested to me a little while ago, was we also use Anywhere to record our meeting minutes so that if we have a call, we just put in the notes there. So that way we've got the board, the details, what we're working through, and then we keep a record of that. So yeah, I think it's a great system. So just from the context of an HR consultancy, and when I say HR, it can be anything in the hiring to firing range, let's say. But if you take on the context of an employee engagement consulting firm, let's say, and they've been asked by a large employer to come in and reduce employee turnover and something like that, then that's a kind of a project that anything could happen. How could a company like that use that? So in my mind, there's a process that comes on and they might do meetings with the management team to see what's going on. And then they might do some surveys and some group workshops to find out from staff. And then they might write that up into a report, propose an action plan. If that gets taken to the management team, then they start to roll out change activities. How would they build that into a board?
My idea, or how we do it within our team, specifically for employee engagement, is that we have set schedules based on when we are required to speak to the employees. Every month we speak to them, but every quarter there is a review, an official review that happens on a set guidelines. So we have different boards for that. A couple of things that we can do, and then that we do within our team. Number one, we set reminders based on the automation on when we have to speak to this employee or this team, for example. That's number one. Number two, when we speak to them, we put the detailed notes back into the anywhere boards. Number three, when we are speaking with them, we come up with an understanding on what this employee needs. For example, if they need training, so we can update a label saying that training is required, whether they need a technical training or communications related training or anything else. So again, there could be tags that we can maintain. So that way, you have a lot of employee data that you can customize and see on a board. And then once the data has been updated into your anywhere boards, you can do filters and see trends, emerging trends coming out of your overall data to see that 65% of your employees need training in, let's say, Angular latest version. So we need to do something about that. So that's how we use it within our, I guess that could be a template, but as I said, this is our process. People can, anywhere is made in such a way that people can adopt it to follow their own processes.
And just to wrap that up, I tend to use it in work list structure and then Gantt chart style, but there are some other formats. Can you describe them?
Anywhere project board basically can be used in multiple view. The list view that you use, Ben, primarily, we call it table view. But apart from table view, some people are used to using the more like, Trello-like structure, the Kanban vertical bucket
Trello,
structure.
yep.
So we have a Kanban. Yeah. So we have a Kanban view. Calendar view basically allows you to see your tasks on a 30-day calendar, but you can customize it to see 7-day, 1 day, or an agenda view as well. And it works on a two-way sync. So basically, you can sync it with your Google or Outlook calendars as well. So anything that you create on your calendars in anywhere will also be updated on, let's say, your Google Calendar or vice versa. Finally, we have a Gantt view that is essentially used for project planning. And we also have a file view. So all your files related to whatever you are doing, let's say you are working on a project with a customer. So there's a lot of files that have been transferred over a period of time, shared with your client and within your team over a period of time. All of those files are also available in the file view. So apart from that, we have a dashboard, which is basically a customizable visual summary of what is happening within your project.
On the different views, the table and the Kanban or the Trello style, that's all changeable with the click of a button. That's the other thing I like about that. So it's not build one and then that's it, you're stuck with it. It's just, no, I want to see the other view now. So for instance, we have a large project coming up for a client. We're going to be building a large HR related event, and that's months in the planning. So the calendar view thing will work really nicely as well for that. So Supreet, you've built an amazing platform there, and it's helping us in such a great way, and other companies I know. So if people want to learn more about Anywhere to see what's possible, what should they do next?
We have a 14-day free trial available that anybody can go and register for. Plans for startups start as low as $20, I believe, for 10 people team, and they go to the enterprise plan, which is about $550 a month. And there are plans in between, starting right from $20 to $49 to $100 to $99 to $149, which you can choose from. So one thing that people who are interested can do is to try a 14 free trial on the platform. But if they have any questions, they can always book a demo with me or other people, customer success team that we have within our org, so that we can do a one-on-one consulting with the customers and see what their pain points are and whether the current system can solve it immediately, or if we need to tweak or build something for them, we can do that.
Excellent.
I would suggest register for a trial. If you have any questions, book a demo.
Perfect. Yep. And I know the team there are very friendly and very helpful. So finally, what's the website address?
It's anywhereapp.io.
So Anywhere App, ANYWHEREAPP. So anywhereapp.io. But that link will be in the show notes as well. So go check it out. Supreet, thank you very much, and congratulations on what you built there, and all the best for the.
Thank you again for having me here today.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.